What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and just a rather quick one today. We have Digimon Latam's, top 16, 8 rounds, 241 players, and this is the first look at really a super high level event for none other than the current EX08 format. So we have a lot of decks to cover, so let's get into the video and talk about it. If you guys don't know, go check out Digimon Latam. They produce really good posts about related to the Latam American events. So this one's the big one, 2024 championship finals with Latam, Chile, 1801, 0118, 241 participants, 8 rounds, top 16 cut. So we had 2 purple hybrid, first and second, 7 great demon lord, Gallantmon X, Galaxy, Toolbox, Lord Nightmon X, Fenry Luga, 7 great demon lords, Tyrant Kabuterimon, which is kind of interesting, Leviathan X, Dominionmon. Then you have MirageGaogamon, Magnamon X, and then Phoenixmon Ancient Phoenixmon. So let's take a look at the deck list here. So if you guys haven't noticed or lived under a rock, the last kind of recent updates for Digimon was that this deck got Nidhoggmon in here to when they discard cards. This is to hopefully extend plays, which does happen from time to time, especially if you needed to do the Koichi play instead, where he's just draw a discard. Nidhogg can, at least after doing your Duskmon shenanigans, be able to extend out a little bit more. The Genkumon plus the Gallantmon just adds in a little bit of power. But we also have Gallantmon being able to apply pressure, but Medieval Gallantmon is starting to see some tick ups in these lists as well. It was starting to show presence in JP because the fact of it's just super generically good and just an answer threat that your opponent has to play around while you're trying to build up your resources here. Now, again, another very stock list for Purple Hybrid. They are playing the Kenya. This boy here, this one is whenever a card's discarded, you draw a card, if I remember correctly. It was introduced a little bit ago, and hey, it's a very interesting tech in the list. I know JP started teching this at 1, so it's kind of cool. Then we do have 7 Great Demon Lords. So 7 Great Demon Lords does what 7 Great Demon Lords like to do, and that is to basically try to get to the big boy as soon as possible. And the fact that you can just combo out with Purple Hybrid and just mill them out is an option, especially when they have multiple colors live. Then you just start changing them in and just go, haha, you are now milling 3 cards. They have to self-mill to kind of just speed up their game plan to get to the Agudamon. If you can mill them out, it is a very vile strat against them, and they don't like it very often, is what I heard. But it is another strategy as well, because again, 7 Great Demon Lords is still a very powerful deck. Now, taking a look here, we do have Gallantmon. This is one of the big boys for Latinum. So Gallantmon X at a whopping 4 copies and 1 Medieval Gallantmon. Really cool to see that they are adjusting their list uniquely. It's been a little hot second before we've had Gallantmon kind of just rule formats, right? But it's kind of cool that it's finally starting to show up and just be Gallantmon what it wants to do. Now you do have Gallantmon again. This one has the Rush Gallantmon. This is more what you kind of expect to see with these lists, but it's kind of cool no less. You have the Digimon to be able to draw, and again, the only time you have to worry about certain things is like Black Growlmon. You can't Digivolve with it on top of Growlmon X because it is looking for Growlmon, not Black Growlmon. So just stuff like that is important just to keep a watchful eye. Now again, a lot of players are going like, oh, Galaxy. I love the deck, don't get me wrong, and I know that I will defend the deck saying that, the problem came down to is when you just have uberly generic stuff, right? The big thing I think should go from this list, and I'm going to be straight honest with you, is either you hit Mirage plus this stupid fish, and the deck doesn't go as crazy, because again, it's this spitting something the heck out, which is usually Lunamon, just to go burr and go crazy. I mean, yes, so Sayo and Co can just be ridiculous as well, because you can just stack the Luna and Corona on top of each other. You know, D-Digivolve Corona or Luna instantly underneath, and then boom, you got Sunma, you get a new one, the correct one. So you have two sources of D-Digi evolution, which makes your stack even bigger and a more scarier threat, means extending your memory more, and then your opponent's just gonna have a bad day, right? So stuff like this does come up from time to time, and Medieval Gallantmon just being in the list really is cool. And you know, Gallantmon X being a new supported card, really solid in my opinion. Now let's take a look at the Lord Nightmon X with Levia. This is just a very powerful deck as well. It just controls the board with the power of Leviamons, with the Anubis shenanigans. It's just a really good toolboxy deck that just has a lot going for it. Now you do have the Fenriluga Takamazuchi OTK. This deck's, unless they hit the Baumon, this deck's going to be around for a long time. Now you do have another 7 Great Demon Lords. Again, you know, this deck does what it wants to do. I have no objections on what this deck plays and how it plays. It's just a very powerful deck. Now here's the interesting deck, Tyrant Kabuterimon. Not a lot of people had this on their, you know, radar, and to be honest with you, the tech game with Medieval is just kind of expected, right? But they are playing Seadramon Ace, which again, with some of your combinations, especially with Tyrant here being able to play, you know, this Mega Kabuterimon out, the promo, this thing can now Blast Evolve on top of Metal Seadramon with Metal Seadramon Ace for it, and then apply more pressure that way. So I kind of get where they're going with it, and I love that the innovation that sometimes a deck can get. You know, just little touches here and there, and people can find ways to win, right? Tyrant is a very powerful deck, and being able to just laugh at your opponent trying to do anything to this thing is just ridiculous. This thing's going to apply pressure, and you don't care. Now, you do have the Levia Lord Nightmon again, but this is mostly figuring in you're just playing Levia. Levia goes, I'm a big step alligator, rawr, rawr, rawr. You know, just eats everything and just has fun with it. Now, we do have Diminumon. Diminumon has been seeing some competitive play earlier on in the format, but now we're seeing more and more of it. You know, Diminumon being able to apply the pressure it is just always good, right? You know, you do have Seraphimon. You do have a Secret Chase Seraphimon Ace in here. You know, this is kind of cool just to see in general. You know, Shadow Seraphimon is such a powerhouse just because it gave Diminumon the final chef's kiss to make this deck go crazy. You know, being able to de-digivolve and do what you want with this list is always fun, right? Now, you do have Mirage, Mirage doing Mirage shenanigans. So Mirage just wants to OTK, and it's a deck that you have to be ready for when it comes in. If you're not able to respond to Mirage, Mirage will eat you. Now you have Magnamon. Magnamon's a little bit of interesting list here, actually. They are playing Jessamon GX. They are playing the Bond of Bravery, not Bravery, Bond of Friendship. And then 3 Chimeramons is quite interesting with the Ancient Garu. Okay. So I kind of see what they're trying to do here, right? So if you have, you know, Lobomon on board, you know, or in raising, you set up Magnamon's on board because it's just a sticky body. You promote up, you Jogress in, grab another Lobo underneath. Now your Ancient Garu's coming in for 1 and being able to swing in. I kind of like the cheekiness here. I think it's a really interesting way of playing it, and Chimeramon is just being Chimeramon, right? Now, again, here's a more stock list you would see Shu being able to go under the Magnamon X, being able to apply pressure that way, and just all good stuff, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with this list. I think at the end of the day, the deck is still strong and isn't going anywhere anytime soon, especially with the new redirect fishy that it got. Now, we do have Ancient Birds. So this is going in for the Crows. You know, this deck is just really strong, actually. The adaptability of the vaccine with Aguni and Ancient Gray applying a lot of pressure, and then you just basically combo wombo right into Phoenixmon again, just applying even more pressure because you'll play the Sora. Sora gets to do the shenanigans, gets you the Garuda, and then boom, you're now just leading into your opponent, just having to breathe down a Garudamon, Ace, or some sort of threat that they weren't ready for, and then Phoenixmon just trying to come in and clean house. So this does happen from time to time, and lists like this matters. So I definitely said this should be on your radar. I think 2 market watches ago that you should be looking at the birds because they will do some crazy shenanigans which will lead to being bought out. So definitely really good. Great job everybody in your top 16. You did a good run, and again, if you guys want to look it up, Digimon Latam is the way to go. But guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.